Hello everyone. Once again, welcome back. Due to some personal work, I couldn't able to record my videos during these 2 to 3 days. So today again I got time. So today's class will be on the vocabs. We'll be thinking about or using while planning task one write up. Right. So as usual, welcome to my channel Xavier Science and Immigration and my classes. Right, students, please don't forget to subscribe. If those who are new to my channel, please subscribe my channel and hit the like button so that you can get the updates from my forthcoming videos, right, of my forthcoming videos, which will help you. Definitely my aim is to discuss about the things we generally miss out while planning the writing. We fumble somewhere, right? So what will be the main motto of this tutorial is that, so what kind of words we should we should be thinking about while planning the task one write up, right? So vocabs for the main thing is that the vocabs for task one, right? In this tutorial mainly I will be discussing about the vocabs for task one. So once again, please hit the subscribe button and don't forget to hit the like button, right? So today's topic will be vocabs for graphs, charts and maps, right? So let us start without wasting our time. We'll start the tutorial. Section 1, I will be discussing, in this section I will be discussing about the vocabs for line and bar graphs mainly, right? Because both are almost same. The plotting of data, the plotting of time period, the plotting of units, everything is almost same. So what kind of words will help to build the write up for this type of task, right? See, I'm talking about the direction, right? Normally, when we are planning for overview, we see the direction or the trend of the chart or the graph, right? So if this is the trend, so what kind of phrase we will be using? We will be using going up gradually, or grown gradually, or rised gradually, or risen gradually, okay? Or gradually it is increased during the period, or the figures are increased during the given period, during a particular given period, right? So see the minimum point, this is the lowest point and this is the highest point. So and the increase, the type of increase is gradual, is the gradual. It is not rapid or it is not a dramatic change, right? Slowly it increased and reached at the particular point at the end of the time. So this type of trend, what kind of phrase we'll be using is going up gradually, right? Similarly, for going down, what kind of words we'll be using? We will be using decreasing steadily, right? See, this is the starting point. It was at the highest value, and at the end of the period it has decreased or it reached a lower level. So this type, and see the trend also, it is not decreased all at a sudden, it decreased in a particular trend, right, in a particular interval. So this type of interval, this type of downfall we can describe as decreasing steadily, right? Or there is a steady decrease, we can use in this way also, we can write in this way also, steady increase or decreasing steadily or decreased steadily. So it depends upon the type of sentence we will be using in our write up, right? The next one is, here we will see what kind of direction we may expect in a bar graph or line chart in the task one, right? Suppose this is the trend which is in the task, right? A starting point which has started from a lower value, from the low value, and then it increased. See the direction here, the increased direction, right? Always remember, while assessing the increase or while seeing the trend, see the level of the angle of elevation, right? The angle of elevation or the angle of fall down, that is important. So that the angles we will be describing with the help of selected words, right? And then after that it reached at a maximum value, at its maximum value. So for this, how we will be representing, what kind of words we will be using, that also we'll see. And then again it started falling down. See the angle, it's a rapid fall down, right? It's a speed fall down, right? And then from here, though it has dropped down, the values are decreased, but the speed has slowed down here. There is a slow change in the fall down, right? So these things we have to point out mainly while planning for the write up of task one. So we'll see the words, what kind of words we'll be using for this. See, this is the starting point. So starting from starting point, the elevation of increase, the angle of increase is drastic, right? So for this increased sharply, what words we can use? Increased sharply, and then reached a peak or the highest value, right? Reached a peak is the word we will be using for the highest value in our sentence, right? Then after reaching a peak, what happened? The figures again fallen down, and the angle of fallen down is represented here with the word decreased dramatically, right? So here also we can use dramatic. There is a dramatic rise in the figures and reached at its peak, and again it dramatically decreased. So why we are using here increased sharply, and why we are using here decreased dramatically, when we can use increased sharply also, dramatically. Increased dramatically we can write, but why we are not writing dramatically? Because repetance will be there. So to avoid repetance, what we are using is increased sharply and then decreased dramatically. Right, so these two words will help you to show your vocabulary range of vocabs, right? Mainly range of vocabs. You are not repeating anything, but you are pointing out the changes in the trends in your write-up, right? And then after a particular point, after this point, see the decreases, the speed, the velocity of the decrease has reduced. So what we will do here, we'll change the word. We will represent in using some different vocabs, like, right, went down slowly. That means from this point to this point, this word we will be using in our sentence. Went down slowly. After this point, right, after fifth month, the figures are gone down or went down slowly and reached at 0.5 in the month of August, right? So this way we will be writing our or planning our sentences, right? So the main thing is that what we have to concentrate is the angle of elevation, the angle of downfall, and the how the data is changing during a particular period, right? So next is about bar graphs. What kind of words we will be using for bar graphs? See, the suggestions are mainly what kind of suggestions we have to I would like to give it to you is, see, line and bar graphs show trends going up or down over a period of time in combination with the related data. See, this is the bar graph. So this is the bar graph. This is showing about different colors, right? So the frequency, you can take it the frequency or the value or of the color. See, in this way it is going. That means the trend is showing in this way. And see, this part is representing the time period. We can say time period or the names of the colors, right? This is called x-axis, right? We will not writing as x-axis in our write-up, but we will be mentioning about these sectors or about these categories, right? This is the category. We can call it as the category side. This is called horizontal bar, right? Horizontal axis, x-axis, or generally commonly we call it horizontal axis, right? And the figures always the trend. See, these figures, how it reached to this point, how it reached to this point, this point. These points are represented in the form of numbers or figures, right? Some unit is representing these things, right? So these units are placed on the left side of the graph, right? These figures are presented in the left side of the graph. So this axis is called y-axis, or we call it as vertical axis. Right? See, periods of time are usually set on horizontal axis, right? In the y-axis, the figures will be there, the data will be there. Whatever the data is collected during the particular time period will be displaying on the left side of the graph, right? Data measuring upward or downward, right? The upward and downward trends is usually set to the vertical axis, right? This is vertical axis, this one, right? So the y-axis is the vertical axis where the data figures will be shown in the graph. So we will be planning based around these two things. Then how many types of trends are there? Generally we will be facing four kinds of trends, right? The trends are upward trend, where the data will be shown in the increasing order, and downward trend the data will be shown in decreasing order, and no change means the steady, there is no change, the is specific figure will be might be continuing for a particular period, right, or during a particular given time. There is no change in the data figures. Then finally, the change in the direction. It may be during that particular given period, the data has sometimes some places the data has gone up, some places the data has gone down. That means the overall, if I describe it in one word way, I can say that the fluctuation, right? Fluctuation. That means neither it is upward nor it is downward. It is the mixture of upward, downward, and maybe steady, maybe fixed for a fraction of time period, right? So fluctuation means it is not one direction, right? Fluctuation, there are the data is shown in different moved in different directions, right? Then so the verbs, what kind of verbs we'll be using? Verbs or nouns we'll be describing for upward trends. See, so I'm starting with verbs: to rise, to increase, or to rise in, rose, or to grow. These are the words we will be using to describe the upward trend, right? Verbs, these are the verbs mainly, right? Suppose we want to use the words as a noun, as a nouns in our sentences, then what kind of changes we will do? An increase, a rise, a progression, a jump in the figures, a progression in the figures, a rise in the sales figures, an increase in the employment. So this type of words we will be using for as noun to represent in the form of nouns. So why this question arises is why somewhere we use as a verb, why somewhere we plan to use as a noun. The main purpose is that we have to show the grammatical structure also, we have to show the range of vocabs also, and we have to show in our writing that we can write accurately using different types of forms of the words. So that will give you an edge to get a good score in writing mainly. That means we are saying the examiner, or we're saying the readers that we are using words, particular words in a particular way, right? That's the main, one of the main purpose of using in different forms, right? Verbs describing downward trends. Downward trends, to describe the downward trends, what kind of words we'll be using? To decrease, to reduce, to fall, to fail, or to fallen, to drop off, to drop or to drop off, to go down, to decline. So these are type of these are the verbs we'll be using for displaying the downward trends, or for mentioning the downward trends. Whereas for the same downward trends, if we want to use our words as nouns, then what kind of changes will come? A decrease in the sales figure, or a plunge in the sales figure, a drop in the employment numbers, or a decline in the number of employees. Right, these type of changes we will be bringing while we want to represent a word in the form of noun, right? So these changes, these minor changes, if we are doing, means we are showing the what you can say, the writing structure, or the range of vocabs or grammatical structures, how we are using accurately, right? So this will show the capability of our writing, right, and the understanding of the language, right? And then verbs, nouns, phrases indicating a steady trend. That means no change, where the data is not changed for a particular given time, or for a particular time period. Then what kind of words we are using? We will be using remain stable, to stay constant, or stabilize. Right? These words will be using to represent the figures which have not changed during a particular given time. Right? Then see, this is the figure normally I will recommend you. This I got from the internet, so I like this very much. The reason is it has shown the angle of elevation, right? If the angle of elevation or the angle of fall down is in this way, then what kind of word will exactly will be appropriate in your sentence, right? So this type of increase, if you are seeing, or this type of trend you are seeing in the graph, then use the word dramatically, right? Dramatically. Or you can use dramatically gone up, or dramatically fall down, right? So there is a decrease in the figures, or there is dramatic decrease in the figures, right? This way, or there is a dramatic increase in the figures in the data, right? This way we can describe the this type of angle, right? To describe this type of angle, right? To describe this type of angle, we can use the word vastly, vast or vastly, right? Similarly, for this type of angle, significantly, considerably, considerable or considerably, a lot of, a lot, substantial, substantially. These type of words we can use to describe this type of trend, this angle of trend, right? And then for this angle of trend, what type of words we can use? A little change, slightly. There is the changes are slight. The changes are there is a slight change in the figures, right? This way we can frame the sentence. Rapidly. So this type of angle we can use rapidly or quickly or swiftly. See, rapidly, if you are using as adverb, you will use this one, rapidly, quickly, swiftly, right? As adverb, as adjective, rapid change, quick change, or swift, simple swift we can use, right? And then for this type of angle, gradual or gradually, right? If adjective, then gradually. If if adverb, it's gradually. For adjectives, it is gradual, right? So gently, little by little, these type of words. Why I'm showing you this is, you just keep these things, these words in your mind based on the elevation, based on the angle, so that while seeing the trend, you can correlate with the change, of the angle, with the slope, with these words, right? That means what? While you're seeing the task-1, while seeing the chart, the changes of while seeing the chart, the changes of the figures, you can easily correlate with these verbs or verbs and adjectives, right? So this will help you to frame your sentence, right? If the angle is in this way, then immediately significant or significantly should come into your mind, or considerable or considerably, or a lot of or a substantial, substantially, right? These words must come into your mind while seeing the trend, right? So this will help you to frame the sentences immediately and to correlate them with your other sentences. Because see, we have to see it, if you go through the band descriptors, what it is given is, you're using a range of vocabs, right? Not big vocabs, it's a range of vocabs, right? And in the grammatical structure, you're displaying the writing structure, right? The sentence structures, the sentence frame, how you are framing the sentences, right? Correct, accurately you are framing or not, right? Minor mistakes are excused, right? Everywhere, see 6 on words. If you see band 6 on words, minor mistakes are always excused, right? So try to remember these words, try to correlate these words while you are seeing the graph. That means when you're planning to write the sentences, at the time you think about these words, how these words will fit into your sentences, right? And then next, see here, I one of the example I've taken from the internet. So this describes that what questions to answer, what and how, where and when. The outcomes of our merchandise, it is given what and how. What is the thing is that the outcome of our merchandise, where and when, over 10 years, right? So these are the phrases, they correlate each other. The outcome of our merchandise over 10 years, it may gone up, it may be gone down. That is a different thing that we will be adding with these phrases, right? Rates of economic growth, right? Rates of economic growth between 2001 to 2013. What happened about the rates of economic growth, whether it's gone down or it's gone up, right? So we will be correlating those things with these phrases, right? The major 10 organizations, okay? The major 10 organizations, which organizations? In the industrial sector, or in the agriculture sector, or in the business sector, or in the economic sector? Which sector, right? What happened to them, right? Are they grown or are they shrink, right? So this type of words will be joining with these type of phrases, right? The major 10 organizations in the industrial sector has grown during the period. So this way we can frame the sentences, right? The company's earnings, or the company's profits, the company's income, the company's revenues were increased for this part of our area, right? So we can add those things, the increase, the trend, increasing or decreasing. Only we have to use those words, right? Just keep in your mind about these phrases. These type of phrases will help you to frame the sentences easily, right? The changes in transactions or auction, the changes in transactions, the changes in auctions, the changes in deals, or the changes in trade. What happened about the changes, right? Whether it is gone down, or there is a dramatic change, or there is a slight change, or there is a no change over the past decade. That means the time period during the last 10 years, what happened actually to the changes, what kind of changes took place. So this type you have to think, and while seeing the task-1, while seeing the image, or while seeing the chart, these phrases should come into your mind to frame the proper sentence. Then you will find a sequence order to write the answer, right? It will help you to plan your overview, to plan your introduction, to plan your body part 1, and to plan your body part 2 also, right? The growth of our sales. Now see, the growth of our sales, either it might have risen to a particular point, or it might have fallen down, right? So during the past 4 weeks, it's talking about the past 4 weeks. So whatever the changes, right, the growth of our sales, right, whether it grown upward, or whether it has fallen down, right? The growth of our sales increased during the past 4 weeks, right? Or the growth of sales are significant during the past 4 weeks, right? This way we can complete the sentence, right? So this way it will help you to frame the sentences while seeing the task 1. Now the section 2, I'll be discussing about pie charts. See what a pie chart is. An example of a pie chart where it is showing that the data is represented for China's makeup of GDP based on the sector 2010, based on 3 different sectors like agriculture, industry, and services, right? So what exactly a pie chart displays? A pie chart displays or shows the size of different parts as a percentage of a whole, right? Remember, it shows the percentage of a whole, right? And one more thing, here you see I have written charts. I have written in plural, right? Plural means the verb will be singular, right? Show, it will not come as. If this is chart, if I'm using pie chart, only one chart, then I will write pie chart shows or displays. Remember this thing, right? This is important thing. So back to pie chart. So pie chart, the data is always represented in the form of a percentage of a whole, right? Then how to interpret percentages, right? Okay, how to interpret percentages. Suppose I want to interpret or compare 43.6 to 50%, right? So what kind of word? Just under a half. I will use this phrase. I can use this phrase to represent these differences, right? Similarly, for 48.6 compared to 50, about the same proportion I will use. The word I will use about the same proportion, not under, right? So because 48.6 is not much difference to 50%, right? Then difference approximately 1 to 9%. That means if the difference is in single digits, right? If the difference is in single digits, then what kind of word I will use? I will be using negligible. The word negligible is appropriately representing the figures between 1 to 9, right? The changes. Negligible proportion. Now see, suppose I'm using proportion in this write-up, in this example, right? Whereas you can use synonyms of proportion like fraction, like part, or a section, or even sector also, right? Because suppose sometimes it happens, you may be writing, you have to write proportion again and again. So in that case, what we will do, to avoid repetence, we can use the synonym of the word proportion like fraction or part or section, right? This will help you to show your different range of vocabs, right? That will help you to display your range, right? Instead of repeating proportion again and again, you can write once proportion, once you can write fraction, once you can write part, once you can write a sector. In this way you can represent the different parts of the pie chart, and you can compare the figures with others, right? And then suggestions. I would like to suggest you that do not describe everything you see. Why I'm saying this, there is a reason. See, but what our key feature says, if we refer to our band descriptors writing task 1, it says that you cannot omit or you cannot leave any key features. If you're leaving key features or if you are omitting key features, then your band score will go down. So then this is contradicting. Do not describe everything you see. This is contradicting, right? But what the meaning is, the actual meaning is that we will be mentioning about the key features. Suppose sometimes you get a graph or sometimes you get a pie chart with massive data, which is not easy to cover all the data or to mention all the data figures in our writing, right? In that case, what we will be doing is we will be mentioning about the key features but not about the entire data. So that is what exactly this thing. Do not describe everything you see. If the figures are more, if the data is more, then what we have to think is which things we have to mention and which things we have to ignore. Right? Do not describe everything you see. Use a range that identifies. See, the important thing in that case, what we will be doing, we will be mentioning the key features, but we will be covering only the range that identify the lowest, medium, and highest values. Right? Out of those massive data, we will be concentrating on these values. After mentioning the key features, just after mentioning their names, we will be concentrating on these three main figures of the image. Identify the sharpest changes. Never forget to ignore this, right? Always look for any sharp changes, any dramatic changes, because they are the important things we have to include in our write-up. Because even examiner also will be expecting the changes to be mentioned in your write-up, right? Use appropriate verbs. See the words which I told you earlier. Think about those words while planning for your writing. That will help you to frame the accurate sentences, right? The use of proper word at proper place is the key to get good scores, right? You try to write simple, keep it simple. Don't make it complex. Whenever you try to use complex words or big words, then automatically we tend to commit mistake because we are not sure about the exact meaning of those words. When you are not sure about the exact meaning of those words, please don't avoid those. Keep it simple, to the point, right? That will help you in getting a good score, right? Next. Section 3, flowcharts and maps. See, what are flowcharts? Flowcharts are simple drawings describing physical and immaterial arrangements and situations like networks, cycle of progress and or regress, distribution and fluctuation process. Right? Flowcharts will be displaying these things in the form of a diagram, right? A form of a diagram or a image, right? Normally you can see the flowcharts may look like this. It starts from a particular point, then the flow begins, then the flow goes to divides to some other departments, like, and then under every department there might be some other assistants or some other sub departments working. So this way the flowchart grows, right? And it is the starting point, then there must be a ending point also, right? An ending, you can see an ending point. So we have to describe all these stages, what happens in each stage and how they are divided and how they are linked with each other, right? In the form of to form that network, right? To form that complete network. Then see, a process flow chart. Remember the word, a process flow chart may be a man-made one or maybe a natural one, right? See, two types of process chart you will see. Process flow chart, right? A man-made or maybe a natural one. What is man-made? If I am talking about man-made, means as the word says that the process is created by the man. All right, the process is created by the man. Like suppose apple juice, bottling of apple juice. What happens? The man collects the raw material, that is apples from the farm, and then brings to the plant, and then there the process of the apples takes place, and then the juice is being extracted from the apple and then preserved for this thing, and added some chemicals also to for lasting longer time, and then the same thing is being bottled and dispatched to other places. Okay, so these are the man-made process, right? This will fall under man-made process, right? Similarly, for natural one, what kind of things will fall under natural one? The life cycle of a butterfly, right? The life cycle of a butterfly, the life cycle of water, the life cycle of a frog, or the life cycle of moths, right? So these type of things are natural, which are based on natural scenario. The process which is dependent on nature fall under natural one, right? So by seeing the process chart of the diagram, we will come to know easily which one was created by man and which one was created by the nature. So accordingly we will plan our write-up, right? Then see, this is the man-made process, example of a man-made process. In this man-made example process, of a natural process, you can see the clay is being digged by a digger, then goes to the next stage, then third stage, fourth stage, fifth stage, sixth stage, and finally ready for delivery, right? So we have to mention all the stages. Remember, while writing these type of things, never forget to include the equipments also, right? Never forget to include the equipments wherever you can easily, if you can easily explain about the equipments, or if you know the names of the equipments, then do write the things, right? Do include those things in your write-up, right? That will show a mature level of writing the task, right? Representing the process, right? It will give a mature look about your writing skills, right? So you can write this as a digger machine, or yes, digging machine. You can write with the help of digging machines. The clay is being dug and sent to the second stage, where it is mixed with the metal gold, right? Metal grid. It's a metal grid. It's a machine's name, so you can mention that it as a grid machine, metal grid machine, right? So never forget to include the names of the equipments used in the process. Similarly, in case of natural process, what happens? We will count the stages: stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, stage 4, stage 5. All are the key features, right? Remember, there are 5 stages, and in every stage something is happening, something is taking place, right? We have to mention those things in the process. And then see, here it is given as life cycle takes 34 to 36 days, right? So during these days, what happens exactly, that we have to mention in our write-up, right? With related to the key features, right? So here you see, you can see that the 5 days, the 7 days, 9 days. So these things we have to include in our write-up to to cover the key features of the process. So this will help you in giving a good band score. Then describing maps, right? Generally maps are images normally, right, which may contain some mapping of a particular area, or difference of a city or town during a particular time period, right? How the things are changed in a village, or the other things are changed in a city, or the other things are changed in a town area, right? There may be a comparison of the changes for a particular given period, maybe 10 years, maybe 20 years, or maybe 50 years, right? So in those type of things, what we will do is the identify a site with regard to the main site, right? We will be identifying a site where to start with related to the main site shown in the map. So the first thing is that which one is the eye-catching site in the map. Concentrate on that place first. Describe about that thing first. Then with relating to that place, we will be comparing all other things just to maintain the linking in our writing, right? Then mention the position of both sides with regard to third side. See, mention the position of both sides with regards to third side. Why it is talking about third side? Just to establish link, right? Establish link in your write up, in your writing. Okay, link in your writing, right? If you're establishing the link, that means the next sentence, when you will be planning for the next sentence, it will be easier for you to continue from that particular point, right? To maintain a synchronized, your writing will be in a synchronized manner, in a logically related manner, just to fulfill the band descriptors coherence or cohesion, right? Coherence or cohesion, right? So you can fulfill those things by approaching your or by planning your writing in this way, right? Position of both sides with regard to a third side. Then relate each side to points of interest. See, to points of interest, the important areas of that particular map, right? Important points of interest means what? Which are the important points? Maybe a street, it may be a post office, may bank, factory, highway, or railway, or river, dam, playground, sea, or airport. Anything that is an place of interest, right? Which is a common place where people easily can find the places. So these things never forget to include in your writing while mentioning about a particular position. Then see, this is an example of a particular place which took changes during 1967 to 2001. During this period, there are some changes to that particular area. So how the changes that took place, that we have to describe in our writing. So here you see in 1967, you can see a major change is that the farmland area, right? This area you see. In 1967, there was farmland in the eastern side of the town, whereas the same area has been changed, has been developed into a entertaining area, right? Like swimming pool is being constructed there, a hotel is being constructed, and 2 table tennis courts are brought up for the people, right? So how to relate them, right? See here the direction, the main is direction, the eastern part, right? The eastern side of the Flintstone town, and here also the same place, right? East zone, right? The eastern side of the Flintstone, which was farmland in 1961, was changed into a entertaining area or into an entertaining public place, right? The new things which were brought up in this area was the construction of a swimming pool, and to the right of the swimming pool, see the word I'm using is into to the right of the swimming pool, right? Right of the swimming pool, and hotel is constructed, a hotel is constructed, right? So this will help using this type of words, to the right, right, to the right, to the left, right, to the right, that means you are referencing them, right? To the right, to the left. So these words are the connecting words, right? It's not necessary that as we normally use further, besides, although, almost, right? So not only those are the words which we use for connectors, even we can use this type of phrases to connect the words also, to connect the sentences also. To the right of the pool there is a hotel constructed, and in front of swimming pool and hotel, or in front of hotel, right? Two tennis courts are being constructed for the public, right? So this way we can maintain the connectivity also, right? So these things you have to remember while planning the sentences or planning the write-up. Now overall the same thing, just a reminder, identify a site with regard to the main site. For this is for particular maps. When you are reading the maps, remember these things, right? Identify a site with regard to the main site shown on the map, right? Mainly remember one thing, whenever you see a map you can see the scale, right? It's the direction scale, right? This is north, east, south, west. So the areas in the map, or the main point of interest, you can represent in the by their direction, by their location also. To the east of the city, to the north of the city, or to the even you can write, suppose a particular point, particular type of building is placed at this point, so you can write it, you can represent it as a northeast of the city, or southwest of the city. This way you can represent southeast of the city, and then northwest of the city. So this way, these kind of words, these kind of phrases you can use to show the to mark the position of those buildings or those places, right? Then mention the position, right? Position of both sides with regards to the third side, right? Just like in the previous slide I told you that to the right of the swimming pool, or in front of the hotel, right? These are the words we use to represent or link the sites, right? For a better understanding. Then relate each site to points of interest, like the same thing: street, post office, bank, factory, highway, railway, all these things, right? Suppose there are hotels brought up in the sea beach. So what we can how we can write, we can write the new hotels or new restaurants are being brought up in the sea beach, right? Or near the sea beach, or at the sea beach. And then even we can write that industrial area was built in the banks of the river, right? In the banks of the river. A dam is built on the over the river for the better commuting of people, where the better connection of the among the two cities, besides the two cities of the river, right? So this way we can plan our write up, right? Use words like location, place, and surroundings, right? Surroundings, place, location, right? These words are the simple words, but these precisely you can project a particular item in the map, right? Or represent a particular item in the map. Then for close by places, that means the places which are very near to them, there is no major distance among them, we can use the words like, or words or phrases like proximity, vicinity, a walking distance, a nearby region, right? These type of words we can use our writing to represent the shortest distance among the, that means which are in vicinity, which are in which are within the reach areas. Those areas can be represented by using these words: proximity, which, or the hospital is within the proximity from my from the city mall. So you can use this way of sentences also, right? A walking distance, it's a walking distance from the bus stand to the railway station, we can mention in that way also, right? To mention far off places, right, far distance which is not in the vicinity. So for that, what kind of phrases or words we will be using? We will be using the words like remote, because it's a considerable distance, or a great distance, far apart. They both are far apart, right? The post office and the airport is far apart, right? And miles away, right? Miles away, the airport is miles away from the post office, right? So this way we can frame the sentences to represent the distance, right? A long distance, right? And then, so my dear friends, this is the vocabs, mainly keep in your mind, or keep in your mind while planning your write-up. All right. See, it is not possible for me to give you each and every example for these words, how to use them, because it will become a lengthy video, which is not possible practically. But I try to give an idea of what kind of words you will be keeping in your mind, or while constructing the sentences. That means the right words, if you're using the right words at right place, that will help you to write a good good write-up, right? See, my main, as I told you earlier, uh, covering all the features of these things. See, it's just a vast, English is a vast language, right? There are new number of words, right? We cannot go into deep of those things. But okay, whatever we are writing, at least we can make sure that we are writing to the point, and we're communicating to the point, or whatever it is there in our mind. We are communicating those things in the exact way to the readers or to the examiner, right? In the band descriptors, nowhere it is given that you have to use complex vocabs, right? It is given that range of vocabs. So think easily, think simple. Don't make your writing complex. By many students, what they do, they try to include complex words in their writing. So by doing that, what they do, they commit mistake. They select the wrong word at a wrong for a particular sentence. That gives them low score. So don't do that. Don't worry. See, what the examiner or what the IELTS is require is that your your writing skills must be clear. Right, must be clear, to the point. You are focusing on the content. Your focus is on the content. You have never been out of the focus, and you are communicating the task in the right direction. Right, that is what they want, right? Range of vocabs, not complex vocabs. Remember, I'm time and again I'm saying it is all about range of vocabs, not complexity of vocabs, right? And the thing is that linking, right? Always maintain linking. Link your first sentence will link to the second sentence, second sentence will link to the third will link to the fourth. In this way, just think about how to link them, right? That is back referencing also, right? Back, if you are referencing something to the previous sentences, then use proper pronouns for them, right? Use proper words to backlink them, right? So that will help you. Don't create any kind of ambiguity or any kind of confusion while using back reference words, right? So that will help you to give a good score in your writing, right? So plan properly and keep these words in your mind while seeing the trends, or while reading the trends, understanding the trends of the task, right? So the angle of elevation, the angle of drop down, this will help you to select the right words, the appropriate words in your sentences, right? Okay guys, happy writing. Please do comment, in the comment section, so that it will help me to include those points. Suppose you have any doubts or anything I missed out, I'll try to include those things in my next videos. That will help me to a great extent, right? And for the new viewers, please subscribe my channel. If you like this, definitely hit the like button also. It will encourage me to plan for some other videos also. And definitely your suggestions, see, your suggestions will help me to reconsider or to recreate my videos differently.